Hey there, my name is Alex, I'm the Silver Mont, and this video is a quick starter guide for the Revenant in Elden Ring Nightreign. Before we get into her strengths and weaknesses, let's briefly touch on how to unlock the Revenant. After you unlock the Duchess by beating the first boss and offering the Priestess the pocket watch, you can then buy the Besmirched Frame from the Jar Merchant for 1500 Merc. Then you'll find a ghostly, manlet, womanlet sulking in a corner of the hold. Interact with it, and you'll have to fight the Revenant, including her summons. Take out the summons one by one, then focus on her. I did it with Iron Eye, didn't find it hard. If you are struggling, using Guardian or Raider might help as they are tankier characters who can trade blows. Maybe even give yourself a relic that starts you with a good weapon skill that you can spam at them. Following this though, you'll have her unlocked. As for her strengths and weaknesses, the Revenant is a summoner type character who brings, you guessed it, versatility to the team. Primarily you could think of her as a strong spellcaster like the Recluse, but with less focus on casting. Her S ranking in Faith and A in FP make her almost as good as the Recluse in that aspect. However, she has no ways of restoring FP by herself. Instead, she can summon 3 ghosts to assist her. Strongcaster can hold her own in melee. As for her weaknesses, by default at max level she has something like 40 health more than the Recluse. In other words, she's incredibly squishy. Second lowest health and stamina by inches, to trade off for her highest FP and whopping 51 faith. The Revenant's passive is Necromancy. When enemies die near the Revenant, she has a chance to summon them back briefly as allies. This honestly isn't something I've ever really found to be useful. During a fight with many enemies, maybe it's there, it's another body for distraction, but unless I'm missing something, this passive is rather lackluster, and you can kind of safely ignore it. It doesn't really do much. Moving on, her skill is Summon Spirit, where you can then summon from a vertical list of summons. 3. Usefully they are ordered in terms of squishy but high damage and mobility. 2. Tanky but low damage and mobility. Helen is very squishy, but can put out some good damage. Frederick is the middle of the road sort, and Sebastian is immobile, but has the highest health. From my experience, Fred is your best all-rounder, summon him in most fights. Helen, if you know you're going to have a window for attack, or you're, invincible, such as a boss going down or otherwise focused on not spamming AoEs. Sebastian is the best at reviving people, and for against giant enemies, he has a good laser beam attack. But his huge size and lack of mobility mean he will eat AoEs and melt rather quickly from them. You can desummon them at any time and they will regenerate slowly. In short, Helen for DPS, Fred for general use, Skelly for giant enemies or if someone is going down. Revenant's ultimate art is Immortal March. This makes your whole team, if they're nearby, immortal for around 10 to 12 seconds. You can still take damage and flinch, but you won't go down. It will revive anyone who is down when cast, and is nearby too. This is a lot like the Bird's ult in a lot of ways, can likewise be used defensively or defensively. Whereas the Bird's is perhaps a tad more defense oriented, this one's better suited for offense, in my opinion. With the right setup you'll be using it quite a lot offensively, but don't be afraid to hold onto it to revive your team either. Remember, once you cast it, you and nearby allies are unable to go down for around 10 seconds unless you jump into an endless hole. Makes your summons immortal too, so it's a good time for Helen to get some damage in, or Sebastian maybe if he can get his laser off. Equipment choice for Revenant is interesting. She has no preferred weapon type, and she starts with a wholly unique weapon. You can't find any other claws or fist weapons, whatever, that match her starting moveset. And her starting weapon is decent, but you're probably going to want to replace it with something with a better passive, or what matches the boss's weakness. Now, because she has high faith and very high FP, that does also mean you could spam something with a really good weapon art, such as the, Godslayer Greatsword with the Queen's Black Flame, something like that. All this faith and FP also means you should absolutely be grabbing seals with good incantations on. Of course, go by what boss you're fighting, but Lightning Spear, Holy Discus thing and Black Flame are amazing staples that you can spam, have good range and damage, and will do work. Personally, I would say Lightning Spear is probably the best, along with the Holy Discus, because you can spam them, they good tracking range and all that. And either one of those will do for your boss, whether it's weaker to Lightning or Holy. Always keep an eye out for those, fortunately they're quite common. I had a run where I used the grafted Dragon Hand against the Ice Dragon boss, and let me tell you, we annihilated that thing. Sadly I couldn't save the clip because Nvidia is stupid and disabled instant replay. The Wraith Calling Bell is also viable on her, of course, as it allows her consistent spammy range damage with good tracking. And that's really what you need for anything. You need to be consistent, or spammy, and have good tracking. Black Flame is good, but the projectile has like an arc to it, and sometimes it's hard to hit things pretty far away, which is why, Lightning Spear and Holy Discus are preferable. She probably won't need the Wraith Bell with all the good seals around, but it's always good to pick one up, and if you don't need it later, well, just drop it. Seals, of course, can be found in basements, churches, and the occasional starting shack for the most part. As for what passives and relics to bring for Revenant, her old portrait is fantastic. This relic will allow you to spam her ultimate, and by spam I mean, every minute or two. But look, that's about as spammy as it gets here. I think that relic's a no-brainer. There's also the relic from the collector signboard to work towards if you're a new player. It needs you to defeat some Everdark bosses, but her relic there that, gives strength to the family and allies when using ult and lets you start with a shard is really nice. Beyond this, power up when fighting alongside family isn't bad, but it's not a must-have. You can't go wrong with the more runes or the power up when defeating opening jails one either. The Revenant's a fantastic spellcaster who can then use melee as a backup, or as a means to replenish their FP or to spam a good weapon art. And they work best when there's at least one melee anchor in the team to provide a backbone, such as the Guardian, Wilder or Raider. But even with no other melee, she at least has her family to support her. She has less potential for damage than the Recluse, but she also is more consistent than the Recluse. You could say her highs aren't as high, but her lows aren't as low as the Recluse. She's also comically small, which is funny. At any rate, thanks so much for watching. Of course, if you have questions or tips for the Revenant, leave them down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Remember to like, subscribe, Patreon, money, yay.